Should you buy or rent your home when you are moving to Florida? This is a question I've been seeing here and there in the comments section that some people are asking me, and today I'm going to come to you and answer this question from the perspective of not only a real estate agent here in Florida, but also just as someone who wants to use common financial sense to make that decision. So let's dive into all of the reasons and factors you need to consider to see if you should be buying or renting when you first move to Florida. Now, before you start thinking, oh, this guy's a real estate agent, he's going to try to sell me a bunch of expensive properties in Florida, just hold your horses. That's not what I'm here to do. First of all, I just want to set the record straight that even though I am a real estate agent here in Florida and I make these videos about moving to Florida, actually, the goal of this channel has nothing to do with getting extra clients for real estate. I know that might be a little counterintuitive to some of you watching, but the actual goal of this YouTube channel is first of all just to teach you everything that I've learned about moving here to Florida by myself and things like that. But it's also to grow the channel to a really awesome place where I could eventually do this full time one day. Because being a real estate agent here in Florida is not all that it's cracked up to be, and I'm not going to cover that in today's video, but basically, I'm not trying to sell you anything in this video. What I am going to do is I'm going to help you just like I do in all of my videos and teach you the proper way to make this decision for yourself. Now, first things first. The first thing you have to figure out is how serious are you about living down here, and how long have you been here if you're already here, but maybe it's been a few months, something like that. So if you're not sure and you have never been to Florida before, or you just came on vacation one time, then I highly suggest you check out this video right here, because it's all about how to do a trial run down here in Florida and get a sense of what it's like to live here before you actually move. The main thing you need to consider when we're talking about should you buy or rent here in Florida is after you've already gotten past the fact that, okay, I'm going to stay here for a while, so you're committing, right? So buying could be an option for you, because if you just want to test the waters for a year or two, buying is probably not going to be the best option. So if that's you can just take buying off the table already and just assume you're going to rent for the first couple of years before you can commit to staying for a longer period of time. Because buying a property and selling it in just a couple of years almost never makes sense no matter where you live in the world. So the first thing we need to get into is the cost of ownership versus renting. And this is hugely important when it comes to making this decision. And I'm going to relate this to my own personal story here to give you an idea of what I mean. In the building where I live in here in Miami Beach, if I were to buy this apartment that I live in, it would cost over $4,000 a month to own this place. And that's with your mortgage, your taxes, your insurance, the monthly maintenance fee on the condo, your utilities, as well as a current special assessment that's happening right now. Over $4,000 a month it would cost, versus what I pay in rent right now, which is about $2,300 per month. So we're talking about saving over $1,700 per month. All the money that we save every single month because we decide to rent instead of own this place, we can now put into investing in different properties, which is how we like to grow our wealth. I like to invest in real estate, and that's one of the main things I've learned over the years being in real estate now for almost 12 years is how to find good deals on investment properties. And so all this extra money that we save now, we can actually use to invest in these other properties. So even though we rent where we live, we actually own investment properties in other areas here in Florida. Now, most people's common conventional advice is like, you want to buy the house that you live in first, right? Well, the reason why that's not a good idea, at least for us, is because it would cost us way more money every month to buy this place that we're living in, and then we would have virtually no money left over every month to invest. And then if anything were to happen where either one of us stopped working or our income suddenly went down, kind of like what's happening right now, we would be in big trouble. Okay, we would get to the point where we might not even be able to make our payment anymore because it would be stretched so far out into trying to just pay for where we live every month. And that's kind of a crappy way to live, guys. You don't want to live like that. The less you spend on your housing every month, the better it is for you, because you want to be in a position where you have extra money saved up, and you also want to be in a position where you feel comfortable financially with your monthly living expenses. Now that I've given you my own real life example of why I choose to rent here instead of own, I'm going to show you how you can apply this to yourself. The next thing you're going to need to do is to get laser focused on where you're going to live in Florida. I'm not just talking about the town, I'm talking about the exact neighborhood, possibly even the exact house, or in my case, or in your case, the exact condo or building complex that you're going to be living in. And the reason why this is so important is because if you want to do a true cost comparison to see how much it's going to cost you to rent versus own there, you need to know exactly where you're going to want to live. You can't compare one house that's over here in Miami Beach and compare that to a house that's, down in Kendall, which is down in South Miami. The cost of living is completely different, and the cost analysis is just not going to match up. That's why it's so important to decide on this next step where exactly you want to live. And then I'm going to show you here on the computer how to break this down into actual numbers to make that decision to see what makes most sense. So let's do a real life analysis so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about, and that way you can exactly learn how to do this for yourself at home, just browsing properties online. We're going to use the building that I used to live in as an example here. So this is currently the cheapest one-bedroom apartment that's available for sale in the building. They're asking $349,000, and we're not going to take into consideration any type of negotiation here. Let's just use the full asking price to make the math easy and not have to do any theoreticals. So we're going to use that as the full price, and then what you want to do is you want to go to the monthly cost section here, okay? As you can see here, it says that your monthly cost is going to be $1,753 a month. Now, because I'm a realtor in this area, right away I know that that sounds suspiciously low, and I can already see why. The main reason why is Zillow is not including the HOA fee, and that's something you always need to make sure of and verify when you're looking to buy a place, because if they don't include that here, you're losing a big significant piece of the puzzle, okay? Because I know for a fact that this HOA fee is close to $600 a month. So let's just use $600 a month as an example, okay? So once I put $600 a month in there, you can see that now the monthly cost to own this place is about $2,300 a month, $2,353 to be exact. And you also have to keep in mind, guys, this is with a 20% down payment. And one thing to know when you're moving to Florida, a lot of times you'll have to put down more than this if you're going to buy a condo, just because the lender might require it, because the building might not have enough owner occupants, they might not have enough reserves, or all kinds of other criteria that a lender might require in order to give you the actual money to buy this place. You have to keep in mind that if you're going to buy a condo, you may have to put down as much as 30% down. And this is also another determining factor for you right here. The 20% down payment, as you can see, that's almost $70,000. Now, I don't know about you, but if you don't have $70,000 just laying around to put into a property like this, then automatically you can rule yourself out from buying it, and you know for sure you're going to be relegated to renting it regardless of which one's going to be more cost effective in the long run. So we know that this place is going to cost $2,353 a month to own. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to Google that same address and put 6917 Collins Avenue rentals, and it will bring you up with this page right here once you get to Zillow. And just make sure instead of hitting for sale, you hit for rent. And as you can see, there's that very same condo that we were just talking about. So if I go to for rent, now it's going to show me all the rentals available in the building, okay? Now this one here is obviously the cheapest one. It's sorting them by price. So you're literally talking $1,850 a month to rent the cheapest unit in the building, or over $2,300 a month to buy that same type of unit in the building. And because I know this building very well, I can tell you that these units are very similar. The only main differences are basically going to be the view, which one faces the street, one faces the building next door, and the size is basically the same, and the layouts are exactly the same. The differences here in these two apartments are extremely minimal. Now you guys just saw that the price difference between renting and owning in the same building, pretty much the same unit, is quite different. You're talking a $500 a month difference. So if you rent, clearly that's going to be the cheaper option. You're going to be saving $500 per month. Now, if you want to base it just on that, what's going to be most cost effective? Obviously the answer is you want to rent. But you need to remember you have to do this analysis on every single place you're planning on moving to in Florida to really make the proper decision, because this is here in Miami Beach. This is a very expensive area. But there are a lot of other areas in Florida that are much more affordable than here, and this is going to be on the flip side where it's actually going to make more sense to buy than it will be to rent. When you buy a place, obviously all of the maintenance and things like that are going to be on you, right? You're going to have to pay for any kind of repairs that need to be done on your unit or your house on top of all of your monthly carrying costs for that property. Versus when you rent, you just call up your landlord and they come out and fix it for you. A couple other things to consider are this. If you're renting, there are some downsides too. Like whenever my lease is over here, my landlord could just say, I don't want you to live there no more. I'm gonna move in. I need you to move out. So I could suddenly have to just move out whether I like it or not, and that really sucks. But when you buy a place, you're securing your home for a very long time and pretty much as long as you want to live there, right? So the other problem is when you're renting, you also have the possibility of the rent going up every year, which happens pretty much every single year. But this can also happen to you when you own a property, because even if you have a 30-year fixed mortgage, your taxes can go up, your insurance can go up, things change, okay? And most likely that stuff is going to go up every year. So even though your mortgage payment might be fixed, your monthly overall expenses on the property can also rise. And that doesn't even include your monthly electric bill or the water bill, the sewer and trash bill. All of those things have the potential to rise, okay? So when you're renting, you're a little bit less vulnerable to those swings, but you're also at the mercy of your landlord saying, hey, I just want more money now. Now, I know this might sound very complicated and we're getting into a lot of details here. I wasn't even planning on getting into everything this specifically, but I am a real estate agent here and I think about this a lot, and I've gone over this scenario with many clients in the past. So if I got a little bit too detailed for you, I'm sorry about that, but I know the idea is to make the answer simple. Should you buy or should you rent? My thought is, if you can afford to buy and the cost to buy the place is pretty similar to what it would be to rent it and you plan on staying for a long time, then you should buy. If you're not sure how long you're going to be living down here, or you don't have the down payment, or if the monthly savings renting versus buying is significant, then I would highly swing towards renting. And you might not even have a choice if you don't have the down payment to purchase. Personally, as someone that wants to be financially free one day, I would always choose the cheaper option when it comes to this, because when you're saving $500-600 a month, or even more, like $1,700 a month, like in my personal case, the answer becomes extremely clear that it just makes more financial sense to rent, because of the fact that you're able to take all that money that you're saving and make other investments for the long term and really secure your future while saving a bunch of money every single month. Buying a house and paying the mortgage for 30 years and having to go to work every day to make that happen, even if the mortgage is almost unaffordable, that is not the idea of an American dream, and I would never do that. I want to buy enough assets so that way my assets can pay for my mortgage payment where I live one day. That's the best way to do it. I'm not going to get into a bunch of details of that in this video, but it's definitely the smartest way to approach this. So I have an idea for you. While you're sitting on your computer going over this cost analysis of where you want to live in Florida, just keep checking out some more of my videos right over here. That way you can learn more about moving to Florida while you're figuring out the cost-effective difference of whether or not you should buy or rent, and I will see you over there in that video.